Yeah.
All right, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with some fellow baseball fans and ball hawks. Today we're going to be talking about the MLB and different rules they have that they've implemented throughout the last couple years. Ones that we like, ones that we don't like. So I got Rob Malone, Joey, Josh, Bill, and Thomas joining me. But they want to show off some other stuff before we get into it. So I'll let you guys do that. So Robbie, you want to go?
All right, so we're showing our favorite baseballs. And was it 4 or 2? How many are we showing tonight?
Whatever you want.
I need to know a number. Y'all? Everybody?
4.
Or many.
Okay, so I got 4. So first one's right here. It's the spring training ball. Last year during the pandemic, the Royals were at our satellite site, and so I caught about 30 of these, so that was pretty fun. This one is I can get out the case.
Show it in the
Hobby Lobby cases. Anyways, y'all don't know Hobby Lobby cases for $2.99. This one is a Omaha Kansas City ball versus Detroit, and I got Miguel Cabrera to sign it. That's a pretty good one. Proud of that one. Held on to that one. Some people got home runs up in here, but hey, that's how we do it. This is a Josh Donaldson signed baseball. He side paneled me, but it's okay. And this one, there's a story to this one. So my dad and I were going to the game, and we're walking to our seats, and Eric Hosmer hits a foul ball. I literally turned around, the ball fell right in my hands. So it was destined to be caught. It was a pretty fun story, but that's all I have for now, and I can't wait to see everybody else's.
All right. We know who the next fan of it is, and definitely be mentioning about this guy throughout the video. But Joey, do you want to go and share your love for Manfred?
Yeah, so I got my my bug hawk here, so it's making his feelings known about Manfred. So just get him out of the way real quick. Sorry, I can't find good help nowadays. All right, so I got a couple of them. Some have stories. I'm not going to bore you with most of them. First one, it's a Trey Mancini autographed side panel. I got this during his MLB debut, which was pretty cool because I was one of the only few people that knew he was being called up there and correctly predicted where he was going to hit a home run. So that was awesome. Next one is from someone that we're probably going to talk about a lot in this video. It's an autograph ball from Alex Katz with a little special insignia on it. It says, "Happy birthday." So how many of you can say that you've had a person autograph a baseball to you and say happy birthday on it? So there's that.
I'm going to get Mike Trout to do that next time.
Let me know how that works out.
How about Trevor Bauer for you, Justin?
I think Bauer would
If I
be
get
perfect.
Trevor Bauer, I'm going to put block me on Twitter. All right, continue, Joey.
Also have a baseball from my birthday a couple years ago where I went to Texas and played catch with Paul Fry. So I had a huge sign saying birthday wishes or birthday goals. Play catch with Paul Fry and an Orioles win. One was a lot easier to get than the other. I think about 17.
The Orioles win was easy, right?
They were up by like 5 in the 9th inning, and they had the bases loaded with 2 outs to win the game. And yeah, I just about cried on that one. Just 2 more left. I only got 2 balls left. Don't worry. This one's a toss-up from Winston Sawyer when he was with Rochester. So the game in Norfolk, where I actually took my cousins to the game. I'd known Sawyer for a couple of years when he was with the Orioles minor leaguers, and actually made a T-shirt for him. And through all the years, we talked on Twitter and everything. He actually remembered me, flagged me down, got a picture with him, autograph, and then toss it up on the last day that I was there. Then probably one of the coolest ones I have is a home run by Austin Wynns when he was in Bowie. I don't know how many of y'all know the story about me and Austin where he was in Frederick. I became pretty good friends with him back when I was going through a lot, the depression stuff, and he kind of helped out. I wrote a story about him online that made its way around to his family and to his mom. At this game, his mom was actually there, and it's the first time I'd ever gotten to meet her. And she talked about the story, how cool it was, how much it meant to her to see it. And he ended up launching a ball into the woods, and I fought off about 5 mosquitoes, 3 tree branches, and sunstroke. Came out, got the ball, and lost probably about 15 pounds of sweat. Tried to give them the ball after the game, and they said to keep it because I had all these cuts and everything on me. So I was a little tore up. But it was awesome home run from that game. Just a lot of good memories from that.
Josh, do you want to go?
All right.
So it doesn't
So yeah, I got 4 here. So first one is one of the only balls I got last year is from the World Series, Game 2. It was tossed up during BP by a Rays coach. I still don't know who did, but this was probably the most I've ever struggled to get a BP ball. I mean, I was desperate to get a ball because that was the only game I was going to be at the World Series for. That was my first World Series game I'd ever been to. As you can see, it's commemorative. And I got it like last group of visiting BP. So I had on the old Rainbow Devil Rays jersey to get the coach's attention, and it worked. And that's the only ball I got from a World Series. Probably the only one I'll have because I don't know when I'll go back to a World Series. But, yeah, that was cool. Second one, this is a Miguel Cabrera foul ball I caught on the fly in Detroit in 2018. I've got about 10 foul balls from like 12 games in Detroit, but this one's the coolest because it's off Miguel Cabrera. And then the other 2 I have are 2 of the home runs I've caught. So this one, and it's got the Reds 150. It's from 2019. This is a grand slam off of the Pirates' Colin Moran. Probably the easiest catch I've ever made. It literally came right to me. I didn't even move. I got booed pretty badly catching this one, and they all yelled at me to throw it back because the Reds just absolutely were terrible, and the Pirates were just destroying us, and that grand slam just kind of sealed the game. But, yeah, I catching the grand slam, even though it wasn't off a red, a grand slam was kind of a big deal, and I was happy to get this one. And then my last ball, this is from the same year. It's also a home run. So this is off of the bat of Eugenio Suarez. It's actually got, you can't really see with the camera. Maybe it's got, Carl Edwards Jr. of the Cubs pitched this ball, and there's actually like 2 pine tar fingerprints on the ball. I don't know if it's actually pine tar, but it's some kind of sticky substance. But yeah, this is off the bat of Suarez. As I caught this ball, I had a couple people just slam into me, and I just got my back just destroyed by one of the seats because I had like 2 huge dudes just land on me. But this home run tied the game for the Reds in the 8th inning, and then Puig hit a walk-off triple in the 9th. So this is probably my favorite home run because it's the only one I have off of a red, and it was also on the fly. And that was the year Suarez hit like 49 home runs. That was like his big year. So I was happy to catch this one.
Thomas,
I guess that's all for me.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Thomas?
Yeah, so I'll talk about 4 that I have here. One of my earliest commemoratives, or the one before really keeping any track, was this one out of San Diego. In 2014, I got it at Petco Park. Prior to the renovation in center field, they used to be able to walk down before the game and just kind of look in. So that was a really nice feature at Petco Park until they redid it. But there's a security guard that just went ahead and tossed this to me as I was entering the park. So really cool. Just a first real commemorative that I have in my collection. Similar to Josh in 2019, being a Reds fan, I had gone there on a road trip, just had a hell of a time trying to track down balls. I was just wanting to get that 150 ball, and everyone that would come to me, I would drop and things like that. I missed a couple game foul balls that happened to have me make a GIF out of on MLB.com. So I did end up getting one ball there. Not a game used, but it was the umpire ball, the last umpire ball on the Sunday. Gary Cedarstrom tossed me this one. So it's a really nice mud rubbed, clean Cincinnati 150 ball. This one's not a game used or a game at all, but Joey probably can tell the story better than myself. But Joey worked with Alex Katz to get the World Baseball Classic 2017 game used jersey back to Alex Katz, and helping with that, there was a little prize drawing that Joey put together to help with the funding of it, and my name was fortunate enough to be picked. So Joey worked with Alex to get this 2017 ball sent to me, as well as it being signed. I'm nice enough also to send can't really show the card here with my background, but it's a nice card signed as well. So, as we talk through these talks, there's this community that is. So I've never met Joey, but through our conversations, Twitter and things, it's nice to form these connections, and soon at some point, hopefully we'll all be at a game together. 2020 was very difficult for baseball. As we know, I went to 6 stadiums, just looking in, seeing what I could. I went to 6 stadiums trying to get the Twins' 60th season ball, and I struck out every time. The balls I got at Chicago, the ones I got at Milwaukee, those balls that I had this year, I didn't get a chance to get that 60th ball until the very last game. I was just talking to one of the groundskeepers. I said, I've been to 6 stadiums over 1,950 miles trying to track down one of these. Any chance you could hook it up? And he brought this back to me at the towards the end of batting practice. So it was a batting practice, pretty nice mud rub 60th anniversary Twins. So I hold this one pretty special because, in 2020, only getting the opportunity to go to so much and watching it from the outside, and still to collect 6 balls, and this being my last ball of the season, really it means a lot to me and my collection.
All right, so now we're going to get into the real.
Aren't you forgetting someone?
Yeah, that's totally intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought Canadians were nice.
Bill, do you want to go?
Hey.
I do. It's pretty interesting to make those connections, right? The first ball I have actually is an opening day from 2000. My ring light's a little off there. From 2020, and the story behind it was that stuck here in Canada, we actually couldn't get to any baseball games. So my son and I got on Twitter, and we were chatting back and forth with some different broadcasters and things. And funny enough, we started talking to Thomas Harding, who writes for MLB in Colorado. And he started talking and back and forth bantered with Colin. And all of a sudden he said, "I've never had a ball hit up here ever." He said, "But you know what? Funny things would happen, but don't hold your breath," and boom. Funniest part was that opening day was delayed for Colorado. So it was actually the last opening day in Major League Baseball. And 7th inning, I was watching a little on TSN, fell asleep, woke up the next morning to his picture holding this ball saying, "You'll never believe what happened." Foul ball, 7th inning, right before he hits the home run, comes up. He said, "I dropped it. I'm so disappointed I dropped it, and it's coming your way." And it came with a program, actually a nice little letter there, and just showed like the connection of baseball, which is really amazing. My second one is actually from May 2017, and it's one of the commemorative pink baseballs for cancer, Mother's Day. 14 rows up, Robinson Cano threw an absolute dart right to me, looking pretty in my my Seattle hat. And so that was pretty awesome. And again, one of my first ones that you can't miss, that it's a commemorative when it's this pink, right? Interesting, Thomas, you're talking about camaraderie of baseball. This is a really special one to my son that I wanted to share. And it actually came from meeting this really nice, fine gentleman up at Ball Hawk Fest. He knew my son loved Mitch Garber. And so actually we got a little mail from Joey that was actually a Mitch Garver from Texas, RBI and double. So he sent that to Colin. He actually made a 10-year-old cry when he saw this. So this was really cool. And that's even after it took me about 8 hours to finally find Joey to eat dinner one night because I can't drive through Baltimore apparently. And then my last one is actually the first ball that I ever got at a Blue Jays game. So back in 2001, I live about 18 hours away from my father. He came up. I'd gotten engaged, and I actually got a hole-in-one the day before playing golf with him, so I was really hungover. And went to this game, and my uncle actually had some tickets for a company. But grew up, my dad was a coach, and baseball was everything to us. So we're there, and we're walking, just taking a kind of a walk through the Rogers Center, well, Skydome at that point. And we're in left foul territory, and a ball pops in. Pick it up, first ball ever. The best part about it was it's actually a commemorative World Series ball from the Yankees and the Mets Subway Series. And it actually has a stamp. I don't know if you can see it. It's starting to fade, but it has actually a star stamp on the back to show that it was never in circulation. But second game of the year, first commemorative ball I ever get. And it's actually a World Series ball. So kind of really special because every time I look at it, I think of my dad. And I think about as a father, the bond that I've been trying to create with my son, with the greatest game ever invented. So those are 4 of my special balls.
I'm just going to go. I don't have them on me, but I'll just say what they are. So mine is my first ever one. It was tossed to me by Tim Salmon. I can't remember the year. I think it was like early 2000s, 2001, 2002, I would guess. So that one, my first and only ever foul ball I've caught. And it's actually of the Blue Jays 40th season commemorative. It was hit by Ricky Weeks and pitched by Roberto Osuna, sitting in section 124, I think, 124, 123. So like home plate side of the Jays side at Rogers Center, about 20 rows up. It actually landed in the seat behind me, 9th inning seat behind me. I just picked it out of the seat. Luckily, the people behind me left the inning prior to that ball being hit. But yeah, so those two, I didn't really catch it, but I guess some people would consider it your first home run ball. In Cleveland, it was a home run hit into the center field bullpen. Security picked it up and just tossed it all back over, and I happened to be there to catch it. And then probably, yeah, those are probably the 3 that I can think of. So I'm gonna go with those. I don't have them on me; they're in my basement, but I'm gonna go with those 3. So now, moving on to the actual real topic of this podcast. What?
I said I thought that was the real topic.
So we're gonna talk about rules to improve the game. So I have a list of about like 15 different topics. They're all pretty recent. So the first one I have,
they're all negative. They're all terrible for the game. I'm a purist.
Me too.
Some might not be bad. They're not really like actual game related. There's some other stuff. So they might not be bad. But the first one I have here is it was implemented last year for COVID. It's the extra inning runner on second rule. So does someone want to start with what they feel about that? And if you don't like it, how do you think? Is there anything you would do differently with that rule?
You know what? I was fortunate enough I've been to 2 of the longest games in Blue Jay history, 19 innings and 18 innings. And there's something to be said about bringing in your left fielder to pitch, but playing the game right from the core up to me. You start, you've got your pitchers, you plan, you coach, and you score that run to win. And one case the Jays won, and probably one of the most exciting things in the world to me One they lost, which is heartbreaking, but to me, that's what the game's all about.
Was that lost the 10-day Cleveland Indians game?
Yeah, that's when Barney gave up just an absolute dart, and it was such
That's the whole Trevor Bauer-ish game that I had with him.
Me, I would say being an extra. I've been to those Royals and Twins played extra inning game. It was like 14 innings. Alcides Escobar drills a home run in like the 14th inning. I personally don't want anything changed. I mean, if they start somebody on second base, the percentage of them scoring is like 0.1%. Like, it was crazy. They didn't really give up too many runs anyway. So, I mean, if we're going to do overtime, why don't they do a 10-pitch home run derby or something? Like, make it fun. Like, do something different. Like, I think 10 pitches with your best home run hitter and just call it a day if you want to change it. I think we'll have more enjoyment out of that.
So then we want the Blue Jays going to extra innings every game because we know they're going to win. So,
Okay.
Well, the reason I always hear the announcers and the sports talk people and all that saying why it's such a good idea is they say, well, the players get tired if they have to play 14, 15 innings. They go to bed late, they're not rested for the next day. And I say, look, you're a professional athlete. Like, you got to play 14 innings one day. Like, so what? Like, I don't want to sound mean, but you're paid well enough that, if you got to play a few extra innings, maybe one game a week or something, it's not that bad. And, if, maybe someone's bullpen the team's bullpens messed up for a few days or something. Like, look, it's a 162 game season. It's not like, even if your bullpen's messed up, that's not going to be like a season-ending problem. That just like inconveniences those two teams for a game or two. The fans love to see it. It's exciting. It's, free baseball for the fans. I haven't been to like a super long one, but I know like when I've been to like 13-inning games, and especially when the home team wins, it's awesome. But like for the argument of like, well, the players get tired and, I guess they can say that, like, I know they do, but they're paid well enough that it shouldn't be that big of a deal for them.
So Josh, 14 innings was 13, 14 innings was the longest game you've been to?
Probably 13, and that's probably happened to me like 4 or 5 times, but no longer than that.
Bill was 19. Robbie, what was your longest inning game?
13 or 14, but I loved every single moment of it. I was like, come on. I wanted they had like several times y'all almost said home runs. I love it.
Was that in KC?
It was in KC. It was versus the Twins.
Josh,
I love that game.
Was yours in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I've seen probably 4 or 5, 12, 13-inning games in Cincinnati.
I know Bill's was in Toronto.
And it was 6 hours. It was 6 hours and 34 minutes, which is phenomenal considering half the things we're doing nowadays is making the game shorter and the experience shorter, but my cost in tickets is going up. Doesn't make sense to me. Give me the full gamut for what I'm paying for, and that's extra innings with nobody starting second base.
So before I continue on to Joey and Thomas' thoughts about this, I'm just going to say my longest extra inning was 14 innings. In Oakland, it was the Reds and the Oakland A's. So that was my longest game that I've ever been to, 14 innings in Oakland against Oakland and Cincinnati. So yeah, Joey, your thoughts on this topic? And what was your longest game, where and who?
I'm not sure what the longest game I've been to is. I've been to multiple, at least 12, 13, 14 inning ones through various minor league teams. I'm not sure what the longest I've been to for an Orioles game is. I want to say maybe 10 or 11. But I don't like the runner on second, especially in the major leagues. In the minor leagues, I can see the reasoning behind it because you're not trying to exhaust everyone. The players aren't paid as well as they're in the majors. You do want to try and get the game over a little bit quicker because players do need to rest, kind of recover. There's a lot more stress going on with the minors than there are the majors. In the majors, players are big enough, fast enough, strong enough where having a runner start on second, okay, the visiting team doesn't score in the top of the 10th. Bottom of the 10th, a bunt and then a sacrifice fly and game's over. So it does kind of take away from it. Plus, being a Baltimore fan, Stevie Wilkerson's still the only position player to have a save. So like to keep that going, even though it was like an 18-inning game for that one.
And Thomas?
Yeah, I'd say I don't know what the longest game is, but I know that some of them have been 15, 16 innings. I remember having the second inning stretch or seventh inning stretch. So I know that they've gone at least 14 innings, as they usually, unmath wise, they double the 7, but you should anyhow. That's how I know I've gone to at least 15, is it had that seventh inning stretch second time. I'm a baseball purist, and I the stats that can get changed. I know that they make it an unearned run for that run, but as Joey was saying, the strategy changes for the home team. Yeah, you always give the home team the advantage, but I think this really is if the other team doesn't score, it just gives that other team, just the home team, the greater advantage in that. Looking back, I know they don't do this in the playoffs, but what if you happen that you have a pitcher in a low pitch count? It's now a no-hitter that goes into the 10th inning. That's going to make that pitcher go from the stretch, something that they hadn't done unless it's, unless they're pitching a perfect game. They haven't had a runner on yet. So it's just a matter of that. So from a baseball perspective, I don't like the runner on second from the pure aspect of baseball. As the sign said, let them play.
I was like, what the hell was that sign?
From a ball hockey perspective, I know that we have a lot fewer fans. The later it goes, the more opportunities there are. If there happens to be a home run, foul ball, you can run and chase down those balls. So as from a hockey perspective, you got a greater opportunity to fewer fans to snag a ball from that game, third out balls and whatnot. The downside to that from a ball hockey perspective is, if it goes late, that next game, you're probably not going to see BP that next game. So that's kind of the downfall. Or if it's a getaway day, you've got now those players that aren't going to be hitting that next day. So that, from a ball hockey perspective, that's the downfall the later it goes. But that's just kind of my perspective from a fan, purist perspective, as well as a ball hockey perspective.
Now, that's a good point. Would you guys rather it be a 14-inning game and you catch the game-winning home run, or the team will take BP next day, but you caught the game-winning home run? Or you want to do BP but say, like, get autographs or get as many baseballs as you can? Which one would be?
The next day, I just won't go to the game, so I'd rather catch the home run.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of us would rather catch a walk-off home run.
Absolutely, 100%. Walk-off grand slam, somebody's 200th RBI. You're like, I'm staying.
Yeah. And the only thing that can be better than a longer game is sometimes a blowout game, right?
Oh, those are perfect.
We've had a couple times where Justin and I knows with Houston that Houston blew out Toronto because they were banging garbage cans. And next thing you know, we're sitting right behind the dugout in the 5th inning, and like they're throwing up gloves. They're just having such a good time. Balls are rolling, bats are going, hats. Like that's the only thing better than a long game in my mind.
This goes back to the last video of with the extended netting. That's going to be harder to get.
Yeah.
Or I'm sure someone will throw their cup up to you guys soon.
So I guess I can skip the next one. It was the speed of the game. I guess based on the previous comments, nobody likes a faster game, and we just want slower, longer games. I guess I'm going to go with that's a consensus. We don't really care if it speeds up or slows down. Just let them play. So I'm going to skip that because I think
Treat your ball games like you treat your women, slow and long.
Is that why I'm divorced?
That's me.
Is that what Jess says? I have a girlfriend?
So the next topic is the 3-batter pitcher rule. Thoughts on that?
I hate it. It takes fun, like the lefty specialist or righty specialist. Like, it's the point. I hate it.
Is that the only reason why? Like,
what?
Why else? Like, that's the only reason why you hate it?
Yeah, like I like when they come in for one batter and then they leave and then they gotta come back out again. Like, it's a strategy. This is the game. That's just how it goes. It's not my fault that they have a lefty specialist to come in and strike the guy out and then leave. Like, that's fine with me. I don't care.
See, I like the 3 batter minimum only because, and I was too young to realize if any other teams did this, but for Baltimore, they would literally have the same 4 pitchers come in one inning. You'd have a righty started off. Jesse Orozco would come in, and his first pitch would be a double into the right field corner. Then they'd bring in another person, and he would probably give up a home run on the second pitch, and they bring in another person right afterwards. At that point, it's like, oh my God, just stop coming to the mound.
Wait, you like the 3-pitch batter?
I like it also because some of my favorite players are like Paul Fry. He's a lefty and usually be a lefty specialist. I want to see him in there for more than just one batter. Like maybe I'm just being selfish because I want my man to get some game time.
Goes back to the Alex Katz thing, or Katz, possibly lefty specialist. You want him in from 1-1.
I'd love for him to pitch all 9 innings. I mean, the
Here.
Alex Katz, the better.
The more Alex Katz, the more fans will be in the stands.
But I like the chess match feature, right? You got a guy you change to a pinch hitter, you bring in your specialist. Like the game otherwise becomes too automatic in my regards, right? Get 6th inning, boom, come here, boom, boom. There's not that play back and forth, and to me, that's what baseball's all about. Make those coaches earn their money.
We all know Kevin Cash didn't earn his money.
I actually agree with Joey on this one. I don't want to see really any rules change, but I'm okay with this simply because I don't mind if games are long. I enjoy sitting there, but there are times when you get to like the 6th, the 7th, the 8th inning where when you do get like a team that changes their pitcher like 3 batters in a row, it's a little bit annoying. It's so long just, sitting there, them throwing pitches and warming up. You're not sitting there watching baseball anymore. It's a little annoying to me just to have like 3 straight guys like that. And also you do get pitchers where just I kind of want to see a pitcher pitch for more than one batter. Like there's some Reds pitchers that like it's been so long. We had like a few specialists a few years ago that every time they brought them in, it'd just be like for one batter. And I just feel like I never really like remembered them pitching because it was just like one batter at a time. I have no problem bringing them in for a minimum of 3 because that lets the pitchers have, more playing time. They're not, and also it's, I guess like I said, it's just when you get like 3 pitchers in a row that come in for just one batter, it's so much time of them coming out of the bullpen, warming up, and then, all right, manager comes out, calls in the next guy, and it's really, really slow. And, like, I don't have a problem with how long the game lasts, but, like, in those periods of time, it's like half the time you're just watching him warm up, and then he pitches for, like 2 or 3 pitches, and then he's out. I'm okay with the 3-batter minimum.
And to kind of chime in on and add to what you're saying, and also this will tie into a little bit about what you're talking about, Bill, the whole chess match. I want to see a pitcher that is usually a specialist get into some trouble and have to work out of it. I mean, why should they come in and feel so comfortable just pitching to one batter? I want them to feel uncomfortable dealing with the 3 and thinking more strategy, more long-term. How do you want to pitch to this guy? What type of defense do you want to use? What is the batter going to be looking for?
You know, I think the pitchers want to face more batters and hate that they would be a lefty specialist. Like, just thinking about if I was a lefty and I was classified as a 1-batter lefty specialist, that's not something that I'd want to do. Yeah, I'm getting paid.
No,
No, it cuts down on your contract because you only have one trick.
Yeah, and
it's kind of hard to evaluate talent when you have a guy who pitches one batter every other night. Like, even if he gets the out most of the time, can you really consider him like a really good reliever when he's only pitching one batter every other game? It's hard to get to know a pitcher like that.
Yeah, if you bring him in every other day, I could strike Justin out each time, but that doesn't mean I'm a great pitcher.
Thomas, your comment?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I really could, I see both arguments. I'm really up in the air and could go either way. the one downside to this that I look to is the pitcher matchup. When you've got you start the inning, you've got the home team or the batting team can make that pitch, they can make that batting change, and you can't counteract that batting change. That's the one thing I dislike about this is going into the inning, you know the three listed batters, but as soon as they put in a pinch hitter, you've got a different strategy going into it where then that hampers the pitching team from being able to counteract that strategy. So that's the one downfall I dislike in regards to the three batter strategy when the batting team makes a change that plays to the advantage of their team where the pitching team can't make a counter move.
Any other comments before we move on?
I guess every pitcher should just try and be like, crap, I can't remember his name now. Pat Vinci.
Righty lefty.
Yeah.
All right, so the next couple actually, or you can combine. So it's to do with the pitching time clock, in between innings and mound visits, and the 5 mound visit limit. Thoughts on those?
Too many mound visits.
So 5 is too much?
I mean, when have we found somebody that's limited in their number of mound visits?
So you're saying there should be no limit?
That or make it fewer. If you're really trying to speed the game up, if you're playing, first team to 21 and nobody ever gets to 21, I mean, why have that rule?
Yeah, I was a catcher through college and my whole life, and I think that relationship between pitcher and catcher is really important. And I always valued the fact that those mound visits could be an important part. As professionals, it's probably not the same. To me, the biggest part is when it's a safety issue, when you're mucking up your signs, you're expecting a curveball and you get a fastball off your chest. Those are the times.
That doesn't get classified as a mound visit.
No, I know, but it's just the fact that, to me, I hope that doesn't impact sometimes some of that stuff happening.
I mean, I personally don't care. I mean, if they want to do 3 or fewer, don't just know you kind of have the unwritten rule. Just don't go to the mound a lot. I mean, I don't see too many mound visits anyway. I mean, besides like checking signs and stuff. So it doesn't really bother me one way or another.
I love when the pitcher doesn't want to come out.
Oh, yeah, he's like, no. Like Blake Snell.
Yeah. Stroman one year, man, he just went off on Pete Walker. Like, livid. He's like, what the fuck, man?
Trevor Bauer throwing the ball out in center field in Kansas City.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is legendary. And to me, I love that.
Send it.
What about your thoughts on the time clock before I move on to Joey and Josh?
I mean, it doesn't matter. They can try to speed up the game, but baseball players are going to have their rituals, and they're going to do what they're going to do.
Okay, Joey, Josh?
Josh.
As far as the 5 mound visits, I kind of like what was said earlier. I don't see any team really being limited by that. Look, the pitchers, the catchers, pitching coach, they go over film, they go over strategies for batters. I mean, when like a pinch hitter comes in, you'll see the pitching coach come out to the reliever and have a meeting, just tell him, give him a little scouting report on the batter. But I don't see a team like needing more than 5. So I think 5 is fine. It's a rule that I don't even notice really, except it's just another little thing up on the scoreboard. You see it. I think it's fine. As far as the pitching clock, I can tell you that where I sit at Great American, every single game, I am when I look at the scoreboard, right underneath it is a pitching clock, and I can guarantee you it does absolutely nothing. Over half of the pitches that I'm looking at the clock, it hits 0 before he throws it. Nobody cares, at least from what I've seen. At Reds games, the clock will hit 0. The ump doesn't look or doesn't care. The pitcher still takes his time. I get why Manfred did it. I think we all agreed that like pace of game isn't like a huge concern of ours anyway, but I can just tell you from what I've seen in Cincinnati, the pitching clock really is not enforced at all.
Joey?
Tampa. So I've seen the pitching clock mainly used in the minor league systems, and it did kind of speed up the game a little bit, but not in a bad way. It made so the batters were less inclined to be like Nomar Garciaparra and take 20 minutes in between pitches. So that did kind of make things a little bit better. It's something that I just wish there'd be less pickoff throws to first base. Like, if you can't pick off the guy about the 15th time, just stop. Okay, just stop. Throw the rosin bag over. Just try and drill him in the back of the leg so he can't run at that point.
Yeah, first baseman's not stealing, so just stop.
Yeah, David Ortiz is not trying to steal second on you.
No.
As far as the mound visits remaining, like you guys said, it's something that you don't even really notice. Cool, it's a chance to go use the bathroom for a minute, maybe flag down the beer guy or the guy with the hot dogs. That's about it. I mean, if they want to go out there and talk and keep the Astros from banging on some trash cans again or stealing hack into their iPhone systems, whatever.
All right, so if nobody else has anything else to add on, the next topic is call for a walk and no pitchers throwing. So this is where the team wants to walk a batter and no pitchers are throwing. Robbie, do you want to comment?
I mean, I'm okay with that. Saves their arm, maybe in the game longer. It doesn't. I mean, it's either throw 4 pitches out or just let them go. I mean, if it's one way to possibly speed it up, I'm okay with that. Just let them go.
Joey?
So I'm against it because the Orioles managed to screw it up several years ago by lobbing an intentional walk pitch kind of down the middle and getting it drilled into right field.
So you like that rule?
No, I hate just give them 4 fingers.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I want to see the guy throw the ball. I mean,
Oh, okay, because you want to see the home run error or.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone can screw it up, it's going to be the team with 0.0% chance to go into the playoffs, and I want to see that.
Or a guy swinging out of the strike zone and hitting it?
I've seen that before, and that's hilarious.
Or if any of you have watched Tony Pena from back in the day, when he looked like he was going to give the 4-pitch intentional walk sign and then crouch down behind the plate and strike 3 right down the middle, batter never expected it. It's these little chess games that can go in there. And if the pitcher's not having it and lobs one to the backstop for a wild pitch, so be it.
You know what? I like the hidden ball trick. That's always fun.
Yeah, but when's the last time that actually worked?
I've seen it work. I think it was a couple
Ryan
years ago against the
Goldman
Rockies.
thrown on second.
Yeah, Ian Desmond got caught with it. That was who it was.
Was it the
Todd
Jays?
Todd Frazier with the Yankees and Bruins.
Yeah.
Josh, your thoughts on the no pitching walk?
I want him to have to throw the 4 pitches. I don't want to see him just go to first base because, like, I've seen a couple examples on YouTube where Miguel Cabrera was one where the pitcher has accidentally thrown it too close. They've drilled a line drive, especially if there's people on. Like, it's still – I feel like –
That would be an awesome walk-off home run error.
you can't – I feel like – You can't just like
World
skip
Series
4
too.
pitches. Like those are 4 pitches that it's a walk. It needs to be 4 balls, not just I remember what Joey said. I don't think I was alive for it, but I've heard that story of where the catcher then crouched real quick behind home plate, strike 3. I've heard of that. I think that was before my time, but I heard that before. And also, if you guys remember, there was a few years ago, there was a minor league. It was like a single A team where it was runner on third base and like no outs in the bottom of the 9th. And the pitcher simply could not throw a pitch out of the zone. He threw 3 straight balls just in the dirt the catcher had to dive for. And then on the 4th one, he threw it so far in the ground, it bounced over the catcher's head, and the guy stole home to win the game. The pitcher literally could not throw it out of the zone like that, and it was hilarious. I just feel like you shouldn't just skip those 4 pitches because things can happen, and it's just like 40 seconds you're saving. It's not a big deal.
Bill or Tom?
I agree. I do like the pitches to see if any magic can happen. You lose that. With regards, that's the play.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, with the you don't get that chance that something special can happen, and when you do have this 4 pitch, you can really tell the fans that are paying attention. Normally when a pitcher's throwing those 4 balls, we get that time to boo the pitcher for walking our guy or whatnot. But when you start an inning, you have throughout the 4, and a person goes, you might hear a handful of fans booing for that walk. So you can really tell who pays attention to the game when you do have this system in place. But at the same time, it really isn't saving much time, and it gives you that one last opportunity. Maybe when there's nobody on base, but when people are on base, there are things that can happen as well.
Yeah, and I think as pitchers, and I'm a little controversial in this, I think pitchers are too babied in life right now. I think the amount of injuries that happen is a lack of actual.
I know in Canada, I don't know what it's like in the States, Josh. I'm not sure, like, if you grew up playing, because I know you're the youngest here, and I don't know if things changed. But I know for me how it was, and I know for Colin, I know for me it was a 45 pitch limit. And every year I think it went up by 10.
Yeah, we had that.
Okay.
It only stopped in high school. That was when
enough. If you do an intentional walk now with the arm care rules, that counts as 4 pitches, even though you don't throw them.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it does up here in Canada, and that's the problem. I think pitchers are so babied that half the injuries are because I can only do 200 innings, right? And all these things, when they're not building the endurance, they're not building the strength, in my mind, that pitchers in the golden days really honed their craft and built some of that stamina and that longevity. And I know there's all the stats and Tommy Johns now versus then, but to me, a lot of it's just that babies. Let them throw. Again, I love it when they throw it almost over the backstop and the guy runs home. Right? If you can't throw it, John Lester. If I can't throw to first base, that's an advantage, right?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is all what the game's about. Quit babying these guys.
I was a pitcher through my freshman year of college, and I can tell you we were absolutely babied way too much. Like, I mean, I was playing college baseball, and we don't have a pitch limit, but our pitching coach is still like gave us a limit. He's like, you go past 80 as a starter, we kind of need to it's so stupid. You're right. Pitchers are babied way too much.
I don't know if you guys watched the college Little League World Series. I've noticed pitch counts in that too.
The College Little League World Series.
What was that?
What?
The Little League World Series.
Yeah.
I noticed there's a pitch count too, and it's the same thing. If you overthrow, then you can't go the next day, and you have to wait a couple days.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That, though, you've got, pitchers whose dads are forcing them to throw curveballs at age 8, so that may not be the worst thing for the Little League World Series, because
yeah,
but it was okay when Danny Almonte was throwing curveballs because he was 14 at the time.
I had kids come in national sports asking us about curveballs, and we're looking at them like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why?
So the 2 Canadians have cursed on this Zoom call, so.
But
Ask Trevor Bauer about his curveball, Justin.
But realistically, that goes back into the coaching pieces, right? And again, if you teach them properly, and arm care is learning how to throw pitches versus grabbing a baseball and just throwing the hook out of it, right? And it goes back to, again, I love the fact that, I'll be honest, my son started throwing a curveball at 10, but he threw maybe four in a game, right? When you need that baby to just get out of it. And if you throw it well and you learn how to throw it, then there's less chance of injury.
I think the change is the best pitch. I don't care what nobody says.
Circle change.
The circle change is the best pitch.
Circle.
Estrada. Josh, going back, because I know what it's like up here in Canada. If you overpitched your limit, you're allowed to overpitch your limit. So say 45, say you ended up pitching 55 or 60 because you're stuck in the inning, and you were, I think, allowed to finish, right, Bill? If you're
allowed to finish the batter.
Yeah.
Okay, and then are you allowed to pitch the next day, or do you need 24 to 48 hours worth of rest?
4 days now. 4 days if you get
yeah.
60.
Yeah, so for me,
65 pitches as a 13-year-old.
yeah, so for me, it was, I think, 48 hours. So they doubled it. What is it like that for you, Josh?
It's been a little bit since I've had to care. I know it was our max was for like up to 14 years old. It was like the max was 95, and that was like 4 days. 60 was 3 days, 40 was 2, and like less than 20 you didn't have to rest. If you were between 20 and 40 it was like 1 day.
So it's similar, U.S. and Canada based.
Yeah.
Similar. I don't think, Joey, I don't think you touched on the. Oh yeah, did you or no?
What was the topic again? Because y'all kind of like veered off to the side about.
The
Pitcher.
call for no pitches thrown. Yeah, we did, because I remember you brought up the catcher rule. The catcher.
Yeah,
thing.
the tweet that you decided to show on your screen.
Yeah. So does anyone else have anything to add to it?
Do you have any original content you want to add, Justin?
No, I'm just going off with what you guys are going off. I'm the host.
I think
here.
we should also start talking about. I think you should run over the catcher too, because you know,
Oh yeah.
if you
Foul
put
the catch
yourself
every time.
if you put yourself in that position, that's part of the game. Barrel rolls into second. Again, teach the fundamentals. Now, if the guy's does a huge barrel roll and breaks a leg, I get that one.
You
Right?
want a guy putting his shoulder down and running into like.
The catcher, yeah, I want to see it.
I had,
Those are the
I
best.
had 2 ribs broken as 11-year-old. I had glasses when I was 15, and I got railroaded. But my glasses, I think I went through 8 pairs of goggles. I went through the Sabo glasses. People like run over, boom, right? And it was awesome. That's what the game's about. And you know what? 2 times it was totally my fault. Like if I wasn't in position. The other times it was them trying to get me to drop the ball. Now, I didn't because, God, I was good. But but that's part of the game, right? Like, if you're going to be, like, dirty, that's different. And there should be huge suspensions on that.
So what about the slotting rule now going into second or going into third?
Oh.
Speaking of,
Oh, the Chase Utley rule?
yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to smash him in his face when he did that. That was just
Yeah, there's a difference between playing hard and playing dirty. Like, I
So
get it.
You want them slotting in hard, but not with their feet up. So
Well,
breaking up plays.
can I speak for a second?
Yeah.
They want to take away people running into the catcher, but what do they show every All-Star game?
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose, exactly. Pete and Ray Fosse. That's part of the game. Now, what Chase Utley did was just dirty. There's a difference between a good hard slide where you want to keep the shortstop or second baseman honest on double play and just going after someone's knee. And frankly, someone should come out and just like Will's talking about, break up the double play. Otherwise, they should go out there and pull in Odor to Batista moment if they try and do something dirty.
Yeah.
I guess I'll say one more thing. They're so concerned about bringing in young audiences, keeping people engaged, babying the players by eliminating collisions or breaking up plays. That's not going to help. That's a bit of excitement that you've taken away. The collision at home plate, trying to break up a double play, like now that's gone.
I
That's
personally
the
like
excitement.
I personally like the bench clearing brawls myself. There's nothing like them fighting. A pitch, somebody gets hit in the back, and then the bullpens come out and people
They
are fighting.
jog out.
Like Amir Garrett going against all the Pittsburgh
Oh,
Pirates.
hell
like,
yeah.
Those are
Yeah,
fun.
great.
Like you love
That's-
seeing that.
Or Kyle Farnsworth tackling the guy and body slam before he flew out to the mound.
Exactly.
Well, and it changes the game, right? Because go back, I don't know, 15 years. How many guys slid headfirst into home plate? You would be eating somebody's knee pad. You would never try to do that funny hook slide because you would be hurt. So that changes the game.
What's wrong with change?
Baseball's too good to change.
This
It's a
isn't
beautiful
soccer.
sport, man, that we all love.
Look, let's start off small. Okay, let's change commissioners and then go from there.
Okay, so if there's nothing else to add, I know this was brought up earlier, and I kind of like the idea as a fan, the home run derby extra inning rule instead of a runner at second, but just letting them play is probably the best way to keep it. But what are your thoughts on the idea of a home run derby extra inning?
I love it with one condition. There can only be one ball hawk in the outfield, and all the other fans have to leave the stadium.
Yes, absolutely.
Baltimore's never getting to extra innings. So you're out of luck, Joey.
We're lucky
They're
to
getting
still
blowout
win in the
games.
ninth inning.
Yeah, they should have a mercy rule for you guys. Shut her down in 6.
Talk about shut it down when the schedule is announced. By the way, what's your home stadium begin this season?
Dunedin, Buffalo.
I don't know.
Oh, oh.
It's also about the chance of you seeing live baseball.
It's true. We've got a professional league up here from that we can go to Ottawa. It's going to be horrible.
Which one, the
stadium
Rockford
if
Peaches?
allowed.
Yeah, pretty close. Sioux Falls. Yeah.
Any other comments?
I think it sounds great, but it's not a good idea. Because then you'd have, like, okay, if you're the Blue Jays, if you got Vladdy, you're pretty much going to win every single time. And that's just kind of one guy winning every time. Like, I think it sounds fun, but I still want to see baseball played out like it's supposed to be.
But you have to change your batter so like Vladdy couldn't do it every time. Like Vladdy can only do it every 9 or 10 times or something. Like you can't have Vladdy do it every time. Like
It should be the last out.
Ooh.
Right after the last out, right? In the NL, it could be the pitcher.
Yeah, starting pitcher.
I would love to see a home run derby.
Big sexy walking up there. Yeah. Bertola.
Last out smart. That would be awesome. That'd be a smart one.
But the reality is that would change the playoffs, right? That would essentially, and they're not going with the modified playoff system, right? They confirm they're not. So then even the 7-inning rule is going to impact playoff spots with less options there. So again, that takes away from 162 games is a long season, but every game means something. So to me, I think you got to go back to the purity of it and let them play. Just let them play.
That's going on to the next topic of expanded playoffs. Did you guys like that last year? Me personally,
No, we didn't belong. We got embarrassed. We shouldn't have been there.
same with the Jays, but I still like the idea. It gave that extra.
Yeah.
Payment.
I mean, 17 could be. I didn't really care. I just wanted to watch baseball.
You just want more home runs.
Yes.
Want juice balls.
Yeah, this thing's juiced.
So going to the next topic, juice balls over non-juice balls. Do you think it's going to really change that much?
Yeah.
No.
So do you think there's going to be way less home runs, little less home runs, no less home runs?
Personally, I want to know what changed. When did it change? Kind of what the history of whatever happened to these baseballs. I think from a fan perspective, to understand kind of what has changed over time. You know, I know that, you know, if you look at the football helmets, you can know how the football helmets changed over time. How did the baseball change over time?
What they say is the string inside the ball is wound tighter. And I think the leather, there's something to do with the leather. So it's a tighter ball. Bug wants more dingers. So, yeah. So we know Joey wants juice balls.
Oh, yeah, the juicier the better.
Same here. Juice them up. Pitchers are fine. If they get racked, that's their problem. That's their fault.
Josh, Bill?
I got a little tie-in story for it real quick. So year before, the international for AAA and I guess the Pacific Coast also went with more.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Yes, Greg Maddox said the same thing.
Pitcher.
AAA leagues went to a more Major League Baseball type ball, and home runs just were through the roof. Like, I went to a couple of Norfolk Tide games, and routine fly balls just kept carrying, and were 400-foot shots. So, yeah, I'm all for it. I want these guys to turn into, Bash Brothers or Midway Monsters or whatever. I want every game to be like the home run derby. Unless Paul Fry's pitching, I want him to strike everyone out or else cats.
Anything else?
From a ball hawk perspective, I'd prefer them not like unjuice them. I prefer to see more home runs. I guess you could call me a conspiracy theorist. I still believe that they juiced them like 3 or 4 years ago. I think there's no way you can deny that something changed. We haven't seen the effect of what they're going to do with the balls yet. I have no idea if we're going to see like a whole bunch less or just no change. But yeah, I'd prefer to see more home runs.
And this is all as a fan. As a fan, and without the ball hawk aspect, you want to see more home runs.
Yeah, that too.
Who doesn't like to see home runs? Chick the long ball.
Just like hockey and goals, right? Football and touchdowns. Okay.
The only thing I think the game has changed, which I'm not as big a fan of, is that it's nothing for some of these home run guys to strike out 250, 300 times a year. I think some of the art of hitting is gone because there's too much emphasis on the long ball. But again, you want them to hit them big and you want them to hit them far because that's exciting, right? Nobody's like, oh, sacrifice bunts. Yeah. Well, I am actually, right? Or, right, the shift is on. Let's drop one down the right for a double. Love that. But that's not the excitement that everybody wants, right? They want the home runs. They want the whistles. They want the fireworks to go off there from the that boat chimney stack in Cincinnati, right? It's all that kind of stuff they want.
I want to see the Nickelodeon slime cam.
All right, so if no one else has anything to add there, the next topic is 7-inning doubleheaders. So if a game gets postponed, the next day they're playing 7-inning and 2 7-innings instead of 2 9s or 9 and 7. Thoughts on that?
Play the whole game. Play 9 innings. Like I'm gonna sound mean, but like I said earlier, look, you're paid that much. It's not that big of a difference. In college, the way our schedules were, where every week it'd be Saturday, Sunday, both days were 2 7-inning doubleheaders. It's not that bad. But for major leaguers, look, if you got to play a doubleheader and it's 2 9-inning games versus 2 7s, look, you're pro athletes. You can do it. I don't know. I'm just kind of annoyed that they think they just are not physically capable of doing a full doubleheader because they are. They did it for decades, and I guess I also want to add that I want to bring back the I don't know how long ago this was. If you buy one ticket for a doubleheader, you should be allowed in for both games. You buy one ticket for the doubleheader. I know that's not a thing anymore, but yeah,
I like those.
Yeah,
Like
the split doubleheaders suck.
yeah.
Is that it all, or anyone else have anything to add?
Well, from a ball hawking perspective, I wish they never had doubleheaders. I wish they had an extra week in the season because theoretically you're losing a BP day on those days, right?
And the next day.
Yeah.
So
So
you're getting more game.
you are from that standpoint, but I think they should never have any special baseballs during a doubleheader, right? Didn't they have the Derek Jeter ball and like the Father's Day ball the same day, right? That's just not fair to Zach Campbell.
All right, so the next topic, video reviews and coaches challenges. So your thoughts on that? I think it was one per team, and then
One after the 7th inning or something.
yeah, and then the playoffs there was 2, but then you got 2 in Buffalo because it was a weird stadium and nobody was used to it. But what are your thoughts on like coaches like pausing it, going to their video room, calling up, being like, "What do you see? Should I challenge? Should I not?" Just stuff like that.
I'll say one name, Jim Joyce. Ruined- Perfect game. If they would have had video review, that's
I
history,
agree on that.
They
right?
could still go back. They didn't.
Yeah. The problem is, again, that the game is so fast now and it's so close. We can't expect them to make some of those calls. And in fact, they're making less calls than ever before.
So you all like the video review, but what about and coaching challenges? But what about having to decide on the spot and not being allowed to go and look at it?
I would agree. Sometimes they wait too long. Like, you got to make a decision. It's kind of like basketball, right? Make that decision, or football, throw the flag. But again, there's some coaching strategy in there as well.
Yeah, I think every sport has some sort of review, but I think basketball and football, they don't have anyone calling up. But yet hockey, they have that screen on the bench, and baseball, they're calling. So
I guarantee you football's calling up.
we don't see it, so it can't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd prefer they get it right. They review. I don't want to see another Mike Galarraga. I think I'm saying that right. Maybe perfect game mess up. I want them to get it right. I will say that it takes away some of the manager freakouts we used to see. Lou Piniella, just some of the legendary just meltdowns by the manager. That's not really much of a thing anymore because they can just review it. But I want them to get it right. And look how many calls that do get overturned in baseball. I think it's a good thing.
Any other comments? Okay, so the next topic is electronic umpires calling balls and strikes, outs and safes.
No,
On that.
You should hold that off for Joey, because I think, didn't their minor league park actually have him? Or he was at an all-star game or something?
No,
But it was there.
so none of you have any other comments, or?
I like, my instinct is I don't want that, but then Angel Hernandez is still calling balls and strikes, so it may be a good idea because some umpires are. In the last few years, there's been some umpires and they don't really do their job as well as some others. I wouldn't argue if they did it. I think it might be a good idea, but it does kind of feel wrong to get rid of the umpire like that.
Don't you think it takes out the human error element of it?
It does. If the way they did it is, the umpire's got an earpiece in, the pitch comes in, it tells him in his ear, and then he calls it like that. It'll still feel like, baseball, like it normal, but then you would get rid of the human error. That's why I think it's probably a good idea. But then, like I said earlier, then you really get rid of you'll never see managers or players meltdown anymore, which I guess is a smaller issue than getting the call right. So yeah, I guess I'd be for it.
I think umpires should have a different code. I think actually as players and fans, we should see the accountability when umpires do make horrible calls or they do impact the game. And I think they have to put some things in check too, because, to go to a game and all of a sudden Vic Calipazzi throws out your three best players in the first 2.5 innings over his horrible calls, to be honest with you. That's not right? All of a sudden, Kershaw throws a bad pitch behind someone's ear. Yeah, maybe he deserved it, but he's out in the first inning. I didn't pay to have Joe Blow come in. I paid to see Kershaw play. So those types of things need to be considered. And don't get me wrong, I think as players, they have to have a different level of respect for the umpires to a certain degree too. But umpires need to be held way more accountable for what they do.
Who was that in Toronto? It was Russell Martin, Batista and
Edwin,
Donaldson?
Eddie,
And Donaldson?
Sanchez got thrown out that game, all before the fourth inning.
Pete Walker
Well,
also, I think, too.
Stroman too, right? I think I remember which one you're talking about.
Yeah, Stroman might have beforehand too. Yeah, he just basically pretty soon like they were gonna call Justin in to catch.
There was one.
You guys,
was,
I didn't tell you about the contract that the Jays are giving me.
I thought that was a stay away order.
No, I get to be the on-field ball boy in the outfield for batting practice.
There was one. It wasn't last year. It was the year before. Fans were in there. The Astros manager, I forget his name now. The guy who had to leave. Yeah. There was one where his bench and he was complaining about some like horrible balls and strike calls, and the umpire after every pitch just kept looking over at him at the dugout, like daring him to like say something else. And then he eventually just told the umpires like just stop looking over here, like you can't do that. And it was after that. I'm pretty sure it was Will Little, because Will Little is a name I know. He's done some thing. But yeah, back to what was said earlier, that I do want to see some get held accountable, because I've seen incidents where just umpires make the game about them, and nobody wants to see that. That's not fun at all. You know, people get ejected sometimes, you know, that's just how it is. You know, someone throws a fit, but like there's been a lot of screw ups, stuff like that, where the umpire just, you know, he's doing the same thing the next day. He doesn't get held accountable.
Okay, enough about Joe West.
Joey, so we're talking about electronic umpires. Thoughts on your comments on that?
I think Bug is giving my comments right now.
Oh, so you like electronic umpires?
So I heard you guys talking just a minute ago while I was on the phone about me being at one of the games where they started using the electronic umpires, and it was at the start game for the Atlantic League a couple seasons ago. First game, thinking professional baseball, where they were using them, and it was pretty good. There were no arguments about it. I mean, because they can't really argue. It didn't cause the game to be delayed. It was pretty quick as far as the umpire making the call when told if it was a ball or a strike. And it gave hitters a chance to be more – it gave both the hitters and pitchers a chance to know, okay, here's where the limits are of the zone. Here's where it can go. Here's where it can't go. So you took a little bit more of the – I won't say the human element away, but you took more of the late inning, oh, man, come on, ump. You gave him a strike earlier that day thing going, which can be a drag, especially for the home team, where you're like, well, you just gave the opposing team's pitcher 4-foot or a 68-foot slider as a strike and as a ball. We don't need another Eric Gregg in the 1997 NLCS situation. I'm sorry, Josh. I'm probably going to have to send you the video for that one because that may have been before your time, too.
Yeah, I wasn't even born yet.
Oh, my God. All right, yeah, I'll send you the video. But I like the robot umpires that they had for the Atlantic League. It made things go pretty quick.
I think pitchers and catchers would both appreciate consistency.
So that goes
And that
back
would
to us as
do
an
that.
umpire. If they're calling strikes, but are actually should be balls, but they're calling that same strike, how do you guys feel about that? Even though it's the wrong call, it's the same call every single time.
I mean, if the pitchers know, if he establishes and say, "Hey, you're funny," that made me laugh. I mean, if they're establishing you can pitch in, can y'all see my screen or something, or are you just laughing?
You're good now.
Oh, what? You can see my screen?
No.
Oh, I was doing something.
What do you got
funny,
up?
that made me laugh. But anyways, no. If you can pitch inside and you know you pitch inside, I mean, it's just the game.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, being the catcher, there are a lot of times I got myself in a little hot water when you'd go up. Like, again, be consistent, because I'd go up there and he'd call a strike and I'd be like, you didn't give that to me the last 5 innings. And then he's like, you better just watch it. I'm like, yeah. And then I got hosed the next time too. Yeah, I think consistency is all anybody wants, to know what a strike is, right? I have 11-year-olds that, like, as a pitcher, my son comes back and says, I have no clue where a strike zone is. And that's the hard part of the game, right? Just be consistent.
So even if it's a ball, but they call it a strike every single time, everyone's good with that.
Yeah,
No,
You know
because
what
if
it is.
no,
As a
'cause you check the video I just sent, then no.
as a pitcher, I knew every umpire in a different zone, but as long as if there's an umpire that, like, he calls more strikes inside and he doesn't give the outside pitch, but as long as he kept it the same the whole game and I could know what it was, I didn't mind, as long as it was the same every inning.
So are there any other comments? No? Okay. So the next topic is thought on a league salary cap.
If owners are dumb enough to pay him that much, let them pay him that much.
But then
Yes.
then the quality of teams being able to the competitive nature of the game balances out with a salary cap is kind of what I'm getting at. Like, your thoughts about that?
Well, the Rays just made the World Series, so you had how much do the Dodgers pay for their team and how much do the Rays pay for theirs? That was the World Series, so.
I think they should actually incorporate reverse salary arbitration. So if you poop the bed, I should be able to take $5 million off your contract, right? Because realistically, that's the problem. It's a system. It's like giving a trophy to everybody who plays, right? Salaries are, you get this, and then if you think you're just that much better, I can ask for more. To me, it's about performance, and I think we got to be more into performance contracts. And again, if you don't do your job, I think you should get a little cutback.
Hey, you pitch 15 games and get Cy Young and get paid the most of any pitcher. I mean,
So that goes back to the point. What if he has a shit year this year? He has all that money. Like, does he?
I hope he does.
I think it'd be hard to say, like, if you don't do well, they can take money back in their contract, because I think that's fair, but I think you'd see a lot of players go on strike for that, because they want to know when they sign their contract, like, they're guaranteed that money, No one wants to, like, have everyone say, oh, you weren't worth your contract. But I think if it actually was, like, players could have some of their money revoked, I think you'd see probably a strike. I don't know if that would work. It's probably fair.
Dude, 2 words for you: Chris Davis.
Yeah, for sure. That guy could fall out of a boat and hit water.
then you got the Seattle Mariner.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say you got the Seattle Mariner situation where he's just, saying all the unspoken stuff that's now going to come against when arbitration happens, and all that behind the scenes stuff, the quiet part nobody says out loud,
I almost think you need a base salary that could be by years of service, but you could rock your incentives. So if I hit 65 home runs, I should get $15 million, right? Now, I know you're going to have owners and things play with that, right, like they do. But realistically, if you look at true performance contracts, that to me would be the ultimate. You win 20 games, you deserve $30 million, right? Those type of things that are really obtainable for greatness.
But do wins really matter? Like, do wins really indicate a pitcher? Because look at Jacob deGrom.
Well, his team sucked.
So, so should you really base it off?
Well,
wins?
you could say, but you could have it for ERAs, right? For holds. You could have a ton of bonuses, which are probably part of the game right now, to be honest with you, right? Like, if I come in for Baltimore and I have 37 holds out of 37 chances, right? That may happen. But I think, you have to look back at the game and say, what am I paying some of these guys for? Like Chris Davis is a great example, right? He has gone. Is he even in baseball anymore? Like, is he picking up?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, is he picking up the baseballs like and throwing them back on the field, or like what is he doing, right? Because realistically, there's a guy you gave him the farm, and he couldn't lay an egg right now.
So I don't, as far as the salary cap, no, because then you miss out on chances like Tatis and, the players that can actually earn their money. But like Bill said, maybe have a salary floor where teams have to spend at least a bare minimum. Like look at Pittsburgh. When was the last time they did anything other than become the Yankees farm system?
Like with reference to the salary cap, look at hockey, for example.
No one looks at hockey for an
I
example.
have no idea what entails in that.
So it's like an $82 million cap. Every team has the max to spend. You get a guy like McDavid making $13 million as like the max in the league. You get like for the least you get Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares eating up say $48 million of the $82 million. So like they can't sign all these top players because we all know the leagues have the money to spend if they were allowed to. Like
So do the Yankees, but look how well that worked out for them.
What?
So do the Yankees, but look how well that worked out for them.
Well, look at the Dodgers too.
The only thing I
Find
do
your best friend.
Yeah. The only thing I do like about Major League Baseball, similar to hockey, is they have a fairly structured system from inception of rookies to so many years of service, right? The struggle I have in sports nowadays too is, and this is because of the amount of money and movement, is that you have very few players that are a part of a team for their whole career, right? So, I think growing up, like I had players that I idolized, and this is a terrible example because he got traded later in his career, but Gary Carter was my favorite catcher, and he was with the Expos for a number of years. Well, you could follow a team, and a player played there for a long period of time.
The what team?
The Washington Nationals. But again, I think that's a part of the business aspect of it now, right? Like, to be honest, if you get somebody like a Trevor Bauer for 1 year, you should be happy because you may never, ever see him again.
Cough, cough, Cincinnati Reds.
What was that?
Trevor Bauer for 1 year and be happy with him.
Yeah, he won Cy Young, even though it doesn't really feel like we actually had a Cy Young winner for the first time. It's just so weird. Maybe it's because we weren't allowed in, but a Reds pitcher just won the Cy Young for the first time, and it doesn't exactly feel like it because the whole year we knew he would be gone. But I will say something controversial, though. This isn't about the Reds, about Tatis's contract. I bet you by the end of it, the Padres wish they hadn't signed him for that long.
Bobby Bonilla.
He's still getting paid.
Yeah.
Bobby Bonilla 3 years ago was the 8th highest paid Met.
Yeah. Isn't he still getting paid?
Yeah.
Look, I have nothing against Tatis. I think he's he's going to bring in a lot of young fans. He's electric and stuff, but 14 years. I mean, they signed him for enough money that they had to almost feel like they were assured he would give them 14 amazing years. I don't think you can guarantee anyone's going to give you 14 amazing years. I mean, he's like 23. He's only 23. I'm not saying he's going to be a bad player in like 5 years or whatever, but who knows what he's going to be like in 14 years. That's an insanely long contract that I'm going to predict isn't going to be quite worth what they paid for him.
I don't know how many
I
of you
think 10 years would have been.
Just imagine like Juan Soto. He's going to get a giant contract too.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. I don't know how many of you guys are following the baseball card market and how much people are predicting on Tatis, Juan Soto, and Acuna. Those are probably the big three that everyone's banking on money-wise in baseball. Now you're looking at Bichette, Luis Roberts, but those are probably the big five. But the investments people are putting on, and they're literally predicting these guys, or at least Tatis, more hype around Tatis. If I had to rank one, I'd go Tatis, Soto, Acuna, Robert, and Bichette as 1 through 5 in order of like the next Trout. So that's like the card market is literally banking on him as the next Trout.
Yeah.
Did you also read about the controversy in minor league baseball that you have these companies and businesses that are betting on the future of players? And they were saying that for Tatis, for example, he had a signing bonus. They came in and paid him so much of money for a percentage of his next contract. And they paid him like $850,000 on the basis of this contract for 10%. So this company just took in so many percentage, $800,000, and turned it into $34 million. Right? That's how big business in baseball is now.
I will say, like, all right, what Tatis has played like what? I guess like 1.5 years, right? Because he got hurt. But if you thought like Harper kind of had the same hype, let's say they signed Harper for that same 14-year deal, I think, and Harper's still great, but I think where Harper is like now, I don't think he would be playing at that amount of money now. So we'll see what Tatis is worth in 5, 10, 14 years.
I think it's because people are banking on him or looking at him as the next Trout.
Yeah. And we'll see.
So any other comments or thoughts on that? Okay, so 3 more topics left. The next one goes off of what Bill mentioned earlier about the Expos, and it's about team expansions. You guys want to see any expansions? Where would you want to see expansions? What teams would you want to see move to another city? Where would you want to see them move? Stuff like that.
I would like the Tampa Bay Rays to move to Belleville, Ontario, 5 minutes from my house. Play in front of 37 fans, including me.
I'll make the 2-hour drive up there for that.
Yeah, give me 2 teams, one in Dayton and one in Columbus. And there we go.
Minor league team in Columbus.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to see expansions? Well, Tampa, I heard you guys want out. I would assume Oakland.
Oakland has plans for a new stadium on the Bay, and Tampa's kind of stuck.
And I know,
So 2027.
for myself, I want Montreal to come back.
Yeah, I think people would be happy with that. I think Vegas would be a good idea. When the Oakland Raiders moved there, I don't know all the details. They say it was good for business. I think a team in Vegas would be good. And I think a team I guess maybe Charlotte, but in that southeast area where there's so many minor league teams, there's so many baseball fans down in the Carolinas, like Virginia, places like that. I think people would show out if you put a team in Charlotte.
Well, they were talking about if the Orioles ever moved because their lease at Camden Yards was coming up, is either them moving or having an expansion team in Nashville.
Yeah. Because Atlanta's kind of the only team they've got right there in that whole area. And college baseball down there is a huge deal, and they've really only got one team in the area, and that's Atlanta.
Well, think about it. Before the early 90s, you just had Atlanta. You didn't have the Washington team. You didn't have either Florida team.
Yeah. I think Charlotte, DC is there up north. I think Charlotte would get plenty of fans because you've got, that's a big baseball area for college, minor league. You got baseball fans there.
And AAA, the Charlotte Knights get a huge drawing every day.
Yeah.
I definitely agree on the Canada, the Vegas. I'd also like to see, as mentioned, like Nashville, Arkansas, Little Rock. There's nothing yet. If I've got to drive down south, I'm going to Houston or Dallas or Arlington. There's nothing really between there, Missouri and with the Royals. It'd be nice to have something middle of the country down south too, as well.
Salt Lake City, New Orleans.
If they're going to put one in Salt Lake, they might as well put it in Vegas, I think, if you're going to put one out there. New Orleans that's a decent idea. I mean, they've already got football. I think you'd get fans.
Well, the problem with New Orleans is, and again, harping on minor leagues, they had a minor league team, the New Orleans Zephyrs, and they had to move because they weren't drawing at all.
You know what? Didn't I actually
Vegas did too.
Oh,
No.
really?
They
They're
still
Las
do.
Vegas
Vegas still has the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
I was also just thinking about Vancouver possibly expanding.
The Seattle of the West.
Yeah. I know Seattle fans hate them Vancouver Canadian or Vancouver fans or people from Vancouver. I got hate out in Seattle until I said I was actually from Toronto, and then they loved my buddy and I because apparently people from Ontario are completely different than those from BC. When they go to the Mariners games, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend going there for it. I went there with my buddy. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It's a shit show. It's fun as a fan. It's shit in every other way. But does anybody else have anything else to add on to expansion teams, places, ideas?
So Las Vegas has they were the 51s. They now have the Las Vegas Aviators, and they were drawing 9,500 fans on average.
AAA, right?
I'm not sure.
Yes.
That's still good
Yeah.
though. That's a lot. So Vegas does, I guess, seem like.
And that's a new franchise. That was a franchise average record, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
All right. So if there's nothing else to add on. The next one is Universal DH. Do you like it? Do you want it? Do you not like it?
This will be controversial. This is the most controversial.
No, the last topic will be controversial, so that's why I'm leaving it at last. But
All right, I guess I'll go ahead. I grew up in Cincinnati. We're a National League team. I've watched pitchers hit my whole life. Pitchers are already babied. Make them hit. I get, if you add a DH, you'll have more hit, like probably more, home runs, stuff like that, because you have better hitters up. But look, they're one of the 9 people on the field. Make them hit. They're not children. They can learn how to hit. It's not impossible. They're professional baseball players. They should be allowed to hit, or they should be forced to hit. I'm pretty sure that in a few years it's going to be universal DH, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. But I want to see the pitchers hit.
so I see Bill likes the pitchers hitting. Joey likes the universal DH.
No, Bug likes the universal DH. I love pitchers hitting. I want to see Bartolo Colon, Mike Hampton, Greg Maddux. I want to see all of them hit.
And it's a great advantage. Like, you know what? If you can draft a kid out of college that's got a cannon arm that can hit,
Yeah.
right?
What about
There'd
like
be no
Brandon
Ohtani?
dual player.
Ohtani's?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and again, it's the universal piece, right? But back in the heydays, you had guys like Johnny Olerud, who was a star pitcher, but his bat was better, so they actually put him to first base when they drafted him by Toronto. If he's in any NL team, he's probably your first Shotani. He's
How
that
many-
with
Babe Ruth was Ohtani, by the way, back in the day. So
no, he's Babe Ruth.
How many
And he was born in Baltimore.
how many good high school pitchers do you think will just be like, yeah, coach, like I'm not going to practice hitting. When I go to college, I get drafted. Like I'm just not going to hit. I'm only going to focus on pitching. Then you got like people that are only like doing half the game, even at a young age, because they know if they're good enough to make the MLB, they will only do one or the other. And I think that then you got all these young people that are just going to focus on one thing instead of trying to play, the whole game.
Thomas, you're the only one that hasn't actually commented.
I like pitchers I can rake.
Okay, so I'll leave it at
Maybe.
that. I'm just gonna add on. I think we're all American League except Josh. As an American League person who will go to NL games, I like the pitcher hitting. It's weird for me to see a pitcher hit, and it's a oh holy shit, a pitcher's hitting right now kind of like eye opener thing, because I'm not used to it. But I get for me, pitchers can have a longer career if they're only pitching because they're focusing on one thing. This is the kind of, I guess, the argument is with the whole universal DH. Expand the pitcher's career, and you're also expanding hitters' careers. Like think about David Ortiz's career if he was in a DH, or think about some other power hitters who were Edgar Martinez, who is the first, I guess, DH into the Hall of Fame, classified full-time DH into the Hall of Fame. His career would be different. You're expanding guys who will get, as they get older, they're DHing and prolongs their career, prolongs pitchers' career. So I guess that's this argument about why they do it. As a fan, in the AL, seeing the pitchers hit is kind of a holy shit moment. And then I've also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I noticed when AL teams go to NL parks and the pitchers hit, the AL's at a disadvantage. I've kind of seen, because they're not used to it. So, and then the strategy too. Like I'm kind of like I like the pitchers batting, but I get why they don't, and I get the whole universal DH. And I guess if I was a player, I would probably want the universal DH if I thought it would expand my career a few more years.
Well, one thing I really hate is interleague play. When you just saw the two leagues meet up in the World Series and the All-Star game, I thought that made things a whole lot better. But now you have this main issue of American League pitchers always having to hit in National League parks now. I think that's what really brought out the whole universal DH thing to begin with. Whereas if they kept both leagues separate and it was just a World Series event, now you see what having home field advantage really means.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really think of that. Interleague play is relatively new, I guess, but
Were you ever around when there wasn't interleague play, Josh?
I was born in 2000, so I don't think so.
2000.
I think it was 98 when they did it.
Yeah, 98.
I would just prefer encouraging playing the full game over not. I mean, like, look, if you're a pitcher, like I was saying earlier, if you get drafted in the American League, then you can be like, oh, I don't have to hit, like, almost ever. But when you have young kids, high schoolers, college that know they're going to get drafted, they can just simply give up on half the game. I just kind of feel like that's just wrong. Like, you could have, like, guys who know they're going to pitch just like, oh, I'll never touch a bat again, and just never pick a bat up for the rest of their life or even practice it. I just feel like you should, play the whole game. As at least them now, they kind of have to practice, in case they get drafted to the NL. If you're a pitcher, then you do have to hit. They at least still practice sometimes in the cages.
I think coaches are probably the biggest proponent, or the biggest in favor of the universal DH.
Yeah.
Look at these guys as pitchers. Like, when you see them before they hit BP, before they hit the road to the National League Park, they love getting in the cage, right? They love that aspect of the game. I don't know if there's many pitchers that would say I think going back, not so much now, but would say, no, I don't want to have the challenge of hitting against the best pitcher in baseball. That's a challenge. Talk about revving it up a little bit. Not only am I, gunning it and getting your whole team out, I just made you look foolish before you had to come out and pitch against my team. And I love that part about it.
So I guess everyone here wants the DH rule just gone in both leagues.
Nope. I still want
Keep it the way it is.
So AL DH and NL no DH.
Two different leagues, two different strategies, two different aspects of it. But again, when you get to the World Series, it could be the difference maker. Right? I think you also have to go back to the fundamentals.
So then what about the All-Star game?
But if you can't bunt as a pitcher, that's something wrong. right?
Well, the All-Star
Yeah.
game, All-Star game, I think you ought
impacting
to.
the World Series home field advantage.
Wait, what was the question?
So just the idea now how the All-Star game impacts who gets home field advantage in the World Series.
Are they still doing that?
No, it's rotating every other year now.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Should be the best record. You got the best record. That's what you should have. I know they have to do it for programming and television and get the fields ready, but you know what? Best record in baseball. If you think you have that, your team's going to get there. Let's have it.
I kind of liked when the All-Star game decided because, all right, the NFL Pro Bowl is a joke, if you ask me. Well, no, I don't have to say it. It is a joke. The All-Star game is a
NBA
little.
All-Star game is a joke too.
Well, it's not a joke. It's not.
The NHL is too.
It's not going to be 1970 Pete Rose, knocking the catcher over to win the game. It's not there anymore. But it at least added some interest, some meaning behind the game, other than just like, here's the players. They can go half speed, all that. It actually mattered for something kind of big.
Who remembers the first game that they did that for when Hank Blaylock hit the pretty much game-winning home run for the American League?
I remember back in 2015, you had Ned Yost. He was coaching the American League. He was coaching to win because his team was, and they did. They figured they were going to the World Series. He was coaching to win.
Any other add-ons before we get to the last topic?
13 more topics.
There's one more, and this is the best one.
Oh boy!
Changing moderators?
What? Why do you all hate Manfred?
Oh, that's not
It's
controversial.
your father.
I said from the year he was hired, I didn't like the dude. And people told me oh no, he's gonna be better than Selig. He'll understand the game. No, he's never done one thing to make me happy. Everything he's done to speed up the game, even if you believed in trying to speed up the games still are not faster. They are almost identically the same speed, but he's changed the rules on us. All the stuff he did with COVID, absolutely terrible. He couldn't get the season started. When he originally talked about expansion a few years ago, he recently took it back. He said he wanted to put both teams in Mexico City, which was the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's so much that I'll let you guys say it too, because he's a joke. I think at this point, pretty much 95% of baseball fans want him gone.
And the other 5% don't even pay attention.
Yeah, they don't know any better.
Yeah, I look at it with the rules that the NFL puts in about what you can put on your shoes and stuff, and then you can't really have that for the MLB. I think it was Bauer last year that had something featured on his shoes that he got docked from, but they're featuring the in and out shoes and things like that on the MLB Instagram. So it's a matter of just the inconsistencies, not ability to showcase the game. They have some big stars that they don't really market and push the game. The youth just aren't engaged at all, and nothing that he's done has worked to expand the population who watches games, and we're all dying off. In a few years, there's going to be fewer people in the game and watching the game. And, I just feel like there needs to be something that engages our youth beyond the let's bring your 30-person team to a game so we can sell seats. There's got to be more to that.
You know what? I just think, to be honestly fair, when has anybody ever loved a commissioner? Like liking your boss, right?
So you're saying people don't like
NBA.
it?
Well, who?
Your
Silver.
teachers and your
Yeah, they only love him because he came into a league that Bettman was basically destroying, right? But I think some of it comes back to some of it really comes back down to that he's making a lot of decisions that have nothing to do with the game. He is, right? He is realistically someone. He's like hiring your plumber to run a Dairy Queen. He knows nothing about it, but he knows how to get things, move the shit around, so to speak. So what he's able to do is, from a business standpoint, makes sense to the owners, but doesn't make sense to the game. And that's really why I think people just hate him. And in regards to, I think the other part is that he's going to push back against the union. That's probably getting too much in regards to it, and that's probably going to put baseball at a crossroads. But again, I think nobody ever likes their boss, and being somebody's boss part of the time, I know how that feels. So just give them a little bit of love. I want one T-shirt that says Manfred needs love. That's the new one I'm gonna get.
No commissioner has had this many people just stop showing up to the game, though. Like, TK nailed it. There's no marketing. Trout should be one of the most marketable people in the world, and he's not. Like, if you're a baseball fan, you know Trout. But, okay, even if you do not watch the NBA, I do not watch a single NBA game all year. I don't watch basketball. I don't care. I can name probably 20 NBA players. You find an NBA fan that doesn't ever watch baseball, they won't be able to name one. They can name past players. They can't name any current players because there's no marketing. Putting Tatis on the cover of MLB The Show for PlayStation is the most they do, and that's already for baseball fans.
But do you know the basketball because of the NBA or because of things like Nike, the company?
I know it because people my age talk about it, because people care. And they're in commercials and stuff. They're on social media,
But that tends to be outside of the NBA. That tends a lot to be their own personal contracts.
Yeah.
Well, like Josh, I don't watch the NBA, but I already know so much about LeBron James. I hate the dude. And I've never watched a single minute of it other than when Rudy Gobert got infected and shut down the whole.
Oh God!
When he licked the microphone and mocked it, and then got the positive test the next day.
And I was in spring training too. I just about died because I choked on a damn steak from Outback Steakhouse while watching. I'm like, well, there goes my vacation. But no, as far as Manfred, I feel like he was probably sent over by the NFL to get rid of fans from baseball so people could watch football during the fall instead of the World Series. And also from Baltimore, he screwed them out of an All-Star game multiple times just because he has some issue with the Angelos family. He essentially killed minor league baseball from a minor league fan point of view with the complete and utter horse crap that he just did recently, taking everything under one umbrella, no longer having each league being their own entity, being able to run their own thing. Now it's all structural and compartmentalized, which just absolutely killed a lot of places. Some places went from having 5 teams nearby to having 1 3 hours away or having none. How do you game when you have fans that can't even get to your future stars? I could go on, but I'm gonna start throwing stuff. Like, I can't stand them.
Okay, so is there anything else anybody wants to add on that we missed, or they want to add on to like previous stuff that?
I don't think there's anything left in baseball to talk about.
All right,
Justin, I'll come up with 20 more for next time.
So I guess that's all for this episode or this show of MLB Talk. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
This wasn't an episode. This was a season.
Please subscribe, hit the bell for notification, and give this video a like, and we'll see you on the next video.
Please like this so we can keep doing
Major
more.
League Baseball. Cats for Major League Baseball.